Well, well, well. If it isn't Earl Greaves, Neiman tussed, shaking his head. I warned you it would come to this. Water, water, the patient groaned. Yes, water, Neiman repeated, the very substance of life, the true nectar of the gods. But the gods can't help you now. I warned you seminary school would be the despoilization of your intermedical inquisitional endeavors. Neiman wagged a finger. The patient struggled, lifting slightly before his head fell back, the heavy clunk sending the surgical tools on the adjoining table rattling. You went too fast, the librarian continued. Too much truth, too rapidly consumed, can be almost as detrimental as blind ignorance. Neiman enunciated the last word clearly. All four physicians nodded in agreement. Well, gentlemen, the senior surgeon suggested, shall we scrub in? All four men headed for the sink. Neiman leaned over the semi-delirious student. So tell me, Erle, where does it hurt? The patient groaned, clutching the edges of the table as spittle spewed from his mouth, running down his cheek. Neiman knitted a brow as Erle emitted a low, gurgling sound. The librarian leaned closer, placing his ear as close as he dared for fear of becoming infected. What was that? Speak slowly. The seminary student swallowed saliva, choking, coughing, struggling for breath before murmuring, Muriac. Muriac? Muriac? Neiman's eyes brightened. Ah, Muriac! Yes, that forerunner of our own democratic system. All men 6 feet tall are created equal, they claimed, the proof of which being self-evident in that each person being of 6 feet in height had exactly 72 inches. This is rather serious, Neiman informed the surgeons, that moment returning to the operating table. Dr. Cataract twitched his nose as if detecting an offensive odor. Dr. Scurvy gazed at the librarian through youthful, questioning eyes. Muriac built a great empire on that principle, Neiman elaborated, drafted a constitution, got their god to notarize it, all the while enslaving anyone having merely 2 feet. And they overran any civilization with the gall to feel 10 feet tall, slicing those who refused to capitulate into 2 relatively equal halves, making 2 fives. Then, calculating 2 plus 5 equals 7, that is, 1 more than 6, they declared this a blatant sign of hubris, if not downright witchcraft. Anyone caught thus was burned at their stakes, and all reasoned out with perfect mathematical precision. Neiman glanced at the patient. Someone, my dear Erle, should have directed you to Al-Ishrag's breaking wind of reason. The librarian bent low, his lips nearly brushing Erle's ears. You see, my dear Erle, reason is merely a tool human beings use to justify whatever it is they desire. Everything begins with desire. We want something. We convince ourselves it's our right, our divine right, to have it. If necessary, we juggle words, alter definitions, reinterpret sacred texts, text we ourselves write and edit, then attribute to our gods. And if anyone dare dispute our alleged logic, we bayonet them into agreement. Neiman stepped back to allow Dr. Bunkles and Oswald room. The 4 literary surgeons circled the table, each respectively clutching a scalpel, a pair of forceps, a can of soda, or a pickaxe. And that's not the worst of it, my dear friend. Should our infallible reason still fail us, we fall back on anti-reason, on the irrational, faith, passion, God, pup, majority rule, Or that most universal of all lines of reasoning, I'm bigger than you are, so you better do as I say. Something I'm sure they never bothered to elucidate at Seminary U. Neiman signaled the four masked men to begin, looking on as four sets of surgical eyes exchanged questioning glances. Where should we operate? Each seemed to ask. Obviously, he needs to have his head examined, Dr. Cataract suggested, his forehead sweating profusely. Shouldn't we start there? With all due respect, Dr. Oswald proffered, I suggest we cut away the heart. His heart is obviously the culprit. Referring to the most recent issue of his favorite medical comic, Dr. Oswald proceeded to explain how the heart, through a complex network of electrical impulses regulated by neurological synaptic connections, was attached to the mouth. The heart drives him on, but should he taste whatever his heart so desperately desires, he soon tires of it. Then his heart tells him to find something else. As long as the heart is in control, he will never be satisfied. Ergo, removing the heart is the most equitable corrective. Yes, but what about the feet? Dr. Scurvy interjected. Everything begins with feet. Because we have feet, we have mobility. What is mobility? Freedom. Freedom to go anywhere, even places we don't belong. Remove the feet, you restrict mobility. Perhaps he'll stay away from the places that fed him the forbidden fruit, which has him so sick to his scrutinizing stomach. Then why not remove the stomach? Dr. Bunkel challenged. Or the ass, for that matter. The patient is obviously an ass. He places his trust in his mind. Using his mind, he convinces his mind that the mind is not to be trusted. Where's the sense in that? He's an ass, I tell you. I say, remove the ass. Or the fist, Dr. Cataract offered, being the only attending physician with a psychiatric degree from the University of Freud. After all, babies form fists long before they extend handshakes. The clenched fist is the first act of rebellion. Amputate the first cause, and you truncate all that follows. Neiman bit his lower lip, exchanging a pensive glance with Dr. Bunkel. I think it's clear, gentlemen, the head physician concluded. The only way to be sure we extricate the insidious cancer is to amputate the whole person.